Hey everyone, Tim Muldoon back for Ignatian Mindfulness Volume 20. I can't believe it's been that many. As you can see here in Boston, it is an absolutely glorious day. I'm actually wearing short sleeves. It's going to be up to 85 on this beginning of what is known as Memorial Day here in the United States, when we remember people that have given their lives in service to their country. So with that note of gratitude, which is always the right note to begin with, I am going to focus on the theme for today, which is vocation. So last time, you may recall, I focused on that very easy topic, the meaning of life. And here again, I'm drawing from St. Ignatius of Loyola's spiritual exercises. And that note of finding the meaning in life and recognizing this idea that leaning into a God who has created us for meaning leads really to the next topic for today. So vocation, and I'm using that rather technical word because to me there's a richness to it. The word vocation comes from the Latin verb vocare, which means to call. So the sense that people are called to do something. This to me is a great theme to be reflecting on in this period that we're all going through, when there is, for many of us, a great deal of uncertainty about our jobs, for example, and for many who are facing financial insecurities of all sorts. This is still an important moment, because vocation is not the same as the job that we have. It's not even the same as the career we have. It's really not reducible even to whatever kind of output that we get out there. I mentioned in an earlier segment that we as Americans in particular have this great kind of disease, I think it's a disorder, of thinking that our value is reducible to our output, particularly our economic output, and so we tend to think of ourselves as having even a net worth, which is a financial number, which in, I think, God's scheme of things means about zero. But the point is that vocation is something that is embedded in the fact that we exist. Again, it has nothing to do with our output. Now, to be sure, our output, now again, work, the things that we create, the ways that we relate to other people, those are fruits of our vocation. Those come out of the person that we are. But I want to recommend to you that this very unusual period is, almost by nature, this has certainly been my experience, the time when we're returning to basic first principles. Who am I? What am I called to do? What gifts do I have that I may offer in service to others? So there are certainly clues to our vocation. And those clues, I think, are fundamentally our desires, what, are the things that we seek to do with the time that we have. Certainly our relationships. How do we give ourselves to others? And what gives us delight in the giving to others? And ultimately, how can we find that place in ourselves that allows us to, as it were, distance ourselves from our output and return to that basic question of who we are. And again, for those of us who come at this from a faith perspective, who God has created us to be. So a couple of, I think, very fundamental questions to ask. What is it that I most deeply desire? What is it that really gives me energy in my life? And who are the people that I am called to serve right now in these very concrete circumstances? So remember, when we have a little bit more freedom and luxury to kind of think big, we can say, what are my goals and what are the great things I want to do with my life? This is not that time, or maybe not in the same way that it has been previously. This is the time when we have to ask, what can I do right now? I can't go wherever I want to go. I can't travel around the world. I can't, hatch these great plans, or at least execute them in the way that I might want to. So maybe it's, what does my family need from me right now? What does my, elderly neighbor down the road need from me right now? Now, there is one right over there, so this is not an abstraction for me. Those kind of concrete questions will help us to recall what I'm describing as these foundational questions about our vocation. And what I will just close with is the observation that our vocation is always, it's going to be oriented out towards others. Now, again, that's not to reduce it to some kind of measurable output. It's simply to say that we are capable of relating to others, and we're capable of using our gifts in service to others. And to put that in a little bit more theological language, it's a way of recalling that God, who is relation, calls human beings into relationship, not only with God, but with each other. And our vocation, again, rooted in our desires, is what unfolds when we respond to the gifts that God has given us and place them in service to the world. Now, a final note. I know I said I was going to conclude, but one final note. I am very much of the mind that our vocation does move us in the direction of service. And I do really understand happiness to emerge as the result of the way that we serve others. I just don't think that our basic programming is such that our happiness is going to be something that manifests itself by serving ourselves. I think that to the extent that we're able to find the ways that we serve other people, we're going to take delight in that, and we're going to find our happiness in that. So vocation as finding our deepest desires that move us in the direction of service to others, and in the process, finding our happiness. So our thought for today. Thanks again for joining me. I'll see you again next time.